Anime's great, right? We have cool-ass shit like Attack on Titan and Demon Slayer, classics like DBZ and Naruto, and even shows like Szk'krrj of the Monster Development Department. And now I've lost you, right? You foolish mortals haven't heard of this show, in spite of the fact that it is currently airing. And part of the reason for this show's obscurity comes from one big, annoying factor with the Western anime community, and that is the insistence of you mortals on treating anime as a genre, rather than as an animation style. This leads to you fools grading masterpieces like Attack on Titan and Boku no Pico on the same scales. You put them on the same lists and treat that as a fair comparison, despite the fact that these two anime are fundamentally different from each other in terms of everything, except for animation style. And this is what enrages me about AnimeList websites. I endeavor to push mortals to watch the anime less traveled, but even just seeking these more unknown anime is incredibly difficult, as the foolish mortals of the anime community have put everything on the same list and grade them accordingly. Why is it commonplace for mortals to have an artistic masterpiece of storytelling like A Silent Voice right next to Energy Kyoka? That's cultured anime for the uninitiated. I would like to remind you disgusting mortals of the fact that the mortals of Japan use the word anime to mean animation. To a Japanese mortal, Eren Yeager and Gru from Despicable Me are both anime protagonists. Now that I point that out, doesn't it seem stupid that we grade various anime on the same threshold? What makes it even worse, though, is the fact that you mortals who design websites like MyAnimeList, for some reason, decide that genres should be treated as tags instead of actual genres, which means that when I want to look for comedy anime, my first result is Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, which, might I remind you, features this scene.
Person Edward. That person Edward. Big Brother Ed.
Yeah, that's definitely a comedy anime to me. Do you mortals see how absolutely moronic this is? Let me remove this from the realm of anime to help explain this better. Imagine you go to look for comedy films. You're probably looking for something primarily comedy, like Adam Sandler or Ryan Reynolds, but instead, the results are all the Marvel movies. That's pretty shitty, right? That's not what you were looking for. Well, that's exactly what happens. Also, mortals, note that on the normie version of MyAnimeList, also known as IMDb, you do not get Avengers movies when you look for comedies, because those are not primarily comedies. So this type of sorting can and has been done in other mediums.
Take fucking notes!
Now, obviously, many mortals who watch anime for the crazy, insane, cool fights or self-insert type stuff exist, and that's why shonen anime and isekai are so popular. But Japan makes more than just those anime, and it makes more than just anime that get memed a lot like My Dress Up Darling and One Punch Man. There's an entire plethora of anime that, when compared to the cream of the crop, are sure 6 or 7 out of 10. But compare them to something like Family Guy or Rick and Morty, and there are a ton of anime that are incredibly funny, incredibly entertaining, and great to turn your brain off to and just enjoy. Sure, Eren Yeager's story is awesome. Yes, Demon Slayer looks beautiful. But as the old adage says, sometimes I just want to go home after a long day and stare at some anime titties. In that spirit, here are some of my recommendations for great non-shonen, non-mainstream anime that are actually incredibly entertaining. I will preface that these are not 10 out of 10 masterpieces of writing. They are funny, entertaining shows designed to be pure fun and entertainment, not to be the next example of mortal Shakespeare. With that said, number 1. Szk'krrj of the Monster Development Department. This show is airing right now this season, and it is a funny parody comedy making fun of Kamen Riders, aka Power Rangers. We follow the assistant scientist of an evil organization whose job is to make monsters that fight Power Rangers. But Things go wrong as she tries to keep things within budget and deal with the bureaucracy of her organization. It's very fun and quite campy, and with fun spins on character archetypes and surprisingly good advice about maintaining a work-life balance, I highly recommend it. Number 2. Ore Twintail Ninari Masu. This show is also a parody of Power Rangers type shit. It's a bit older and the animation leaves a lot to be desired sometimes, but the actual characters in the show are funny. You have Main Boy, who has a twin tail fetish and has to morph into a lolly to power up. Tsundere childhood friend, exhibitionist darkness, and a whole plethora of villains all powered by their own personal fetishes. Overall, it's incredibly funny, and if you want a good thing to watch while drunk with comrades, I highly recommend this. Number 3. Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. You don't have to watch the whole thing, obviously, because Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds is like 200 episodes. But I have one simple thing to say. Card games on motorcycles. Number 4. Heaven's Design Team. An edutainment anime in the vein of Cells at Work, featuring a team of designers hired by God to invent animals. It's surprisingly educational and pretty funny, so if you want to sit down and watch something that gives you a few trivia facts and doesn't take itself too seriously, I highly recommend this one. I have completed another video to infect mortal minds. I would like to apologize to you mortals for my respite last week, as I required some time to repair the damage to the cringiverse that I caused by neglecting things. But I am better now, and I will be returning to streaming and posting consistently. I am currently working my way towards producing longer form content such as this, but as I am a being of brevity as well as cringe, I must put in a considerable effort to make videos that fits YouTube's 8 to 10 minute requirement without it being boring. Do not worry, mortals, though, we will still be making 6 stitches in 60 seconds, and I thank you mortals so much for getting 388535's video to over 1,000. I am truly thankful to have infected your minds, and with that said, remember to accept your cringe, and stay pogers.